Okay, wait, we can do one last vid, yeah? Let's do one last vid. The tragic story of Air India survivor. Keep in mind though, this was recently. I remember we seen this on TikTok, bro. I'm pretty sure almost everyone's seen this on TikTok. Hold on. Watching you on okay, bro. You get out there, Randy.
Wishwash Kumar Ramesh and his brother are ready to board their flight. The temperature is pushing 37 degrees Celsius.
Is it that hot in India?
Boeing 787 bound for Gatwick Airport is supposed to take them home to London. Vishwash Kumar sits down
37. How is India so hot as well?
in seat 11A. His brother is across the aisle in 11J.
Hold on, I know I'm already pausing, but keep in mind, chat, the people that sit closest to the safety shit, it turns out is the most safest place to be in.
At this point, of course, neither of them knows what's about to happen.
Crazy.
Shortly after takeoff, both engines fail. The aircraft loses altitude and crashes into a compound. 241 people on board are killed. 19 more die on the ground. Only one passenger survives.
That's crazy.
It's Vishwash Kumar. His brother doesn't make it.
That's crazy.
The images go viral. The sole survivor just leaving the crash site on his feet.
The passenger in seat 11A.
Look, he's walking. His dad is walking. I just know damn well the prices next to them doors increase, bro.
Lived to tell a tale about what had happened.
When he's interviewed at the hospital the next day, he has no words.
He looks fine,
What
though.
was the situation yesterday? Can you describe for us, please?
I can't explain. Everything happened in my eye. I can't.
Vishwash Kumar is not the only one. Time and again, there have been horrible plane crashes that only a handful of people survive.
looks-wise, no.
In this
like,
video,
you know.
we'll look at 4 of those deadly tragedies.
4?
And at the people who somehow made it out alive. The Air India disaster with only one survivor. A jumbo jet that slammed into a mountain. A girl who fell from the sky. And a plane exploding into a gigantic fireball. Were those who walked away just incredibly lucky? Or is there something they all had in common?
The seats. Interesting. I think it's the seats. The closer you are in here, the bigger the chance of survival. Because if anything happens with the planes, the wings, I think they're either way catapulting away. And if you ever crash with an airplane, you never crash from the back. Only if you fall. But then the plane will have to fall on its back as well. You can only crash from the front or from the sides of the shit. But hold on. Yeah, I think the safest place to be is near the
what
side.
would really help you in the extremely rare event of a plane crash?
What's bro saying? I'm thinking theoretically, bro. If we're talking about a plane, what's the most safest place to be in? Let's say this is the front of the plane. I'd say next to the doors, bro. That's the safest place to be in, bro. That's a star. I don't care, bro. That looks beautiful, bro. It's a plane. Okay, fuck y'all, bro. On God, y'all hating on my shit, bro. Get the fuck out of here. Third.
This video deals with catastrophic accidents. But overall, flying has become extremely
You're
safe.
dying first because you're next to the door. No, it's not. It's not. Randy, it will probably tell
it allows you to visit places across the globe. Look at Lens, for example, one of our 3D animators.
Hey, I'm currently in China. When abroad, I always use Saily to get in some air. I should get this.
Lens to say the download story. The investigation into the Air India Flight 171 crash is still in progress.
And it's
but
still
there's
ongoing,
a preliminary report that helps us better understand what most likely happened. When the plane starts losing altitude, it first strikes several trees. Then, only 32 seconds after takeoff, it crashes into a compound. The buildings accommodate doctors and medical students working at a local hospital. On impact, the nose of the aircraft is slightly pitched upward. The tail section is sheared off at the edge of the first building.
There you have it.
The rest of the fuselage keeps thrusting forward, tearing through walls and ceilings with devastating force.
Wait, they could have survived
that,
though.
The right wing breaks off. The aircraft then slams into the next building, causing the left wing to come off as well. The wings and this part of the fuselage carry the fuel tanks. Vishwash Kumar is seated just ahead of that entire section. Evidence suggests the fuselage may have fragmented again, separating him even further from the wings. Being seated by the
Whoa.
window and being separated from the wings and fuel tanks may have slightly increased Vishwash Kumar's chances of survival. This way, his seat was not exposed to
Shut
the
up, Saba.
gigantic fireball that occurred upon impact. In interviews following the crash, Vishwash Kumar said he escaped from the wreckage through an opening next to him. It's unclear whether that opening was caused by a rupture in the fuselage or whether the emergency exit door had been blown off. Vishwash Kumar was the only survivor.
That's
he left the
crazy.
crash site on his own feet with only minor injuries.
Aura.
But one extraordinary case is not enough to draw any real conclusions. So, we started looking for patterns.
Jesus.
These are all the major commercial aviation accidents we could find since 1970 that only had 1
What
to 5
happened here, bro? What the fuck?
survivors. The larger the circle, the more passengers were on board. The yellow dots represent survivors.
Survivors. Holy shit.
This is the deadliest single aircraft disaster in history. Japan Airlines Flight 123.
Wait, I think I
And
remember
this
this.
is Air India Flight 171.
Whoa.
That single yellow dot is Vishwash Kumar. Our
Vishwash.
research was in part inspired by similar data analysis conducted by Reuters. The news agency reviewed 1,400 commercial aviation accidents and found 45 cases where only 1 to 5 people survived.
Oh my god.
For 20 of them, they could even identify the survivors' seat numbers or approximate seating locations.
Okay, so we will have
So, does where you sit on a plane affect your chances of survival?
Yes.
Vishwash Kumar was seated here in the front section of the aircraft. Of all known survivors from major plane crashes in the last 55 years, 14 were seated here.
Okay.
19 of them were seated in the rear sections of their respective planes.
What?
So were Yumi Uchiai and 3 other female
Uchiha?
passengers on Japan Airlines Flight 123.
I'd say the front is safer though, because that's what I learned.
The Boeing 747 is en route from Tokyo to Osaka. The flight is completely booked with a total of 524 people on board. It's the day before a major 3-day holiday season in Japan. Many passengers are flying home to see their families, including Yumi. She's actually a flight attendant at Japan Airlines.
Oh damn.
But today she's off duty and traveling as a regular passenger.
W
She's
regular.
seated in row 56 and casually flipping through a magazine. Then she hears a loud bang. The
Holy shit,
cabin
animation
pressure
looks tough.
drops. Oxygen masks fall from the ceiling. A large part of the jet's 10-meter tail fin has broken off.
What?
It will later be revealed that the plane's so-called pressure bulkhead was not repaired properly after a
Oh,
hard
brother.
landing 7 years prior. Now that part breaks into several pieces and destroys critical control systems. From that moment on, the pilot can no longer control the plane. It starts climbing and descending on its own, while simultaneously
no.
rolling and yawing from side to side. Yumi gets up from her seat. She's trained for this and knows how to assist the crew. She shows passengers how to put on their oxygen masks and life vests and how to brace for a potential
Damn,
impact.
She's helping everyone and somehow she's the only one that survives? That's crazy.
Many begin writing farewell notes to their loved ones. The flight attendants try to calm everyone down.
That's actually crazy. Holy shit.
44 minutes after takeoff and 30 minutes after the initial bang, the nightmare comes to an end. Yumi is strapped back into her seat and assumes a brace position. The right wing and one of the engines strike a tree.
Get
The
us
plane
going,
rolls over onto its back and slams into a mountain ridge.
bro. On its back, bro.
The crash site is here, deep in a remote mountain range in Ganma Prefecture.
Uh-huh.
The rescue teams don't arrive
Yeah,
until
survival
15
will be hard,
hours
bro.
later. Trees and wreckage parts. The rescue teams don't arrive until 15 hours later.
They arrive 15 hours later.
Trees and wreckage parts are still smoldering. Medics comb through what is left of the aircraft. Yumi will later say the screams of many other survivors kept her awake all night. But at some point, most of them went quiet. To this day, it's unclear how many people had initially survived the crash. Experts think it's very likely that many more could have been saved if they didn't have to lie there all night, injured, out in the cold.
That's crazy.
It will later turn out Japanese authorities waited until the next morning to launch an extensive rescue mission. They simply assumed that no one had survived the crash. Apart from Yumi Ochiai, one other
What? They were like, yeah, they're either way dead, so let's not waste our time. We will go tomorrow. Jesus.
Their woman and 2 girls survive. 520
Or next morning.
people
Yeah, that's
die.
crazy. But
All
that
four-
was, I think that was in the 19 something, so protocol and shit was different. News wasn't that aggressive. Because now, if we be hearing shit like that, bro, they will be fried.
Survivors were seated back here, in the rear section. The tail section has the horizontal stabilizer and the massive tail fin attached to it. That makes it a very solid structure.
Interesting.
According to a data analysis published by Time magazine, the middle seats in the rear section have the highest survival rates.
Okay, so that's...
But the differences
what I
across
know.
cabin areas were marginal, and the researchers only looked at a limited number of crashes. The
Okay.
front section of the aircraft can also act as a
I
crumple
know this.
zone and absorb
I know closest to the door, so I've heard this is safe. I've always believed this one is a safe spot.
part of the impact's
in here.
kinetic energy.
So the middle's
Experts
the middle
told
one.
us the odds of survival also depend heavily on how the plane hits the ground.
Yep.
That is, if it comes down in one piece.
One Piece. Holy shit.
This is Juliane Köpke.
I'm curious
She
about
is
this.
17 years old and goes to school in
17?
Lima, Peru. Her parents are renowned biologists at a remote research station in the Amazon
Are people in Peru white?
rainforest. It's Christmas. The night before, Juliane attended
Anna
her
Frank,
end-of-school
okay, bro.
prom and graduation party. Her mother had flown in for the occasion. Now, the two are eager to get back to her father so they can at least
Not they
spend
wrong.
New Year's
Yeah, I'm
together.
about to say, bro, what the hell?
The research station is located deep in the jungle. First, they have to fly to Pucallpa. From there, it's several days by boat.
What the hell?
All flights from Lima to Pucallpa are fully booked,
So-
except one. Lanza Flight 508.
Oh, they would have survived this if the other ones wasn't
Juliane and her
booked?
mother hesitate. Her father explicitly warned them about Lanza. The airline was only founded a few years prior and already lost 2 aircrafts in crashes.
The father Warrington?
Leaving Lima the day before was not an option though.
Warrington?
Juliane didn't want to miss prom night.
Oh,
So the two end up boarding a
she didn't want to miss prom night. Oh, yeah, she has survival guilt. She has survival guilt as a motherfucker. Yeah, it's cooked.
Lockheed
She has
L1
survival guilt now. 'Cause I
Electra.
think she's the only one that survived it, bro.
Juliane sits in seat 19F in the second to last row. The plane takes off. Because it's Christmas, the mood on board is festive. The flight is scheduled to be only 1 hour.
Damn,
20
trying to
minutes
speed
in,
it
the
up.
crew starts serving breakfast. Juliane looks out of the window at the rainforest below.
That looks tough. Beautiful.
Then the plane starts shaking.
Jesus.
A massive wall of clouds is building ahead of them.
This time is completely different from anything I've ever experienced. The pilot doesn't go around the storm, but flies straight into hell. The world outside turns dark in the middle of the day.
That's crazy. I wonder how that looks though.
Bolts
I
of
really want to be
lightning
in
keep
that.
flashing all around us.
That looks scary
At the
as
same
hell.
time, an invisible force starts shaking the plane like a small toy.
Luggage flies through the cabin. Passengers scream and cry. Juliane will later say she saw a gleaming white light above the wing. Then the
Jesus.
aircraft starts plummeting towards the ground.
I think it.
At around 3,000 meters, it breaks apart. Juliane is ejected into the void.
Oh my days! If you get ejected mid-air, you will guaranteed feel scared. It's cold as fuck. You know you're gonna die. You know you're gonna die.
She is still strapped to her seat.
You see them
The
clouds.
next thing I remember is
Oh, it
hanging
is.
with my head down, while the jungle approaches me in slow circular motions.
What?
It's not the jungle that's coming toward me. I am the one moving toward it. The treetops are grass.
But the chances of survival in this is higher than usual, no? I'm pretty sure because you land at a tree. If you can choose to land on a tree or the sea, you should always choose a tree. I've learned that. Because it blocks the fall. Because if you try and land in the sea, bro, it's gonna smack, bam. But if you go in them trees, it's like bam, 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 bam.
Green and dense.
Yeah, that will hurt, but you will survive. One is gonna die, one's gonna hurt, but you survive.
They remind me of broccoli heads. The
Capri, you going? I've seen it, bro. I've seen it, bro. I've always learned about how to survive plane crashes.
images are blurry. I see everything
I'd
as
rather choose sea where you gonna die.
if through a veil. Then darkness surrounds me again.
Cause
20 hours after the crash, Juliana wakes up next to her row of seats.
20?
She's alone.
I don't feel any fear, but an overwhelming sense of abandonment. The
Holy
crushing
shit. Alone? In a forest? Yeah, bro, she gonna survive that as well. Huh.
realization that I'm alone. My mother is gone.
No, broken bones for sure, but I don't know about her.
Although she was sitting right next to me just moments ago. Her seat is empty.
Yeah, nah, her mom got injected.
Juliana starts walking. She follows a small
Wait, but how do you get ejected though?
stream of water to a river and lets herself drift in the current.
Smart.
That's what her father told her to do if she ever got lost in the jungle.
What?
She survives on some candies she found at the crash site.
What?
Along the way, she encounters martens, brocket deer, and caimans. After traveling alone for 11 days, she is picked up by a group of rubber tappers. She will never see her mother again. Juliana is the sole survivor among the 92 people on board. To this day, it's still largely unclear how she could fall from 3,000 meters and live to tell.
She is 3 kilometers
She thinks
up.
she owes her life to a combination of 3 factors. 1. Storm clouds often have powerful updrafts beneath them. The vertical flow of air may have slowed Juliana's descent.
Whoa.
2. The row of seats she was strapped to may have acted like a parachute, like a rotating propeller that reduced the speed of her fall.
Whoa.
3. The entangled lianas of the rainforest may have formed a kind of natural safety
Yep.
net to cushion her impact. In this case, where she was seated most likely didn't matter. Reuters reached a similar conclusion. Survivors of aviation disasters usually come from every part of the aircraft.
Interesting.
In some cases, the only survivors are seated at the very front,
How?
in the cockpit.
In the cock?
For pilots, takeoff and landing are the most critical phases of any flight.
I mean,
That's when
makes
most
sense.
accidents happen. Partly because planes are more
landing is the hardest. I mean, I guess.
vulnerable to external factors during these moments. That's why aspiring pilots have to go through a rigorous selection
Yeah.
process. Candidates first have to prove their resilience to extreme physical and
So
mental
crazy.
stress.
That's crazy.
Then they face the airline's demanding recruitment tests. Only a few make it through the entire procedure. And after that come years of training.
That's so crazy, I ain't gonna lie. And we
James
still have so
Pohinky
much
met all the
pilots.
requirements to enter the training. This morning he's serving as first officer on a Comair regional jet.
Is this his
The
first
sun
time?
is not up. James Pohinky met all the requirements to enter the training.
Yeah, but bro,
This
can you imagine how much pussy you'll get, Andy? Yeah, I'm a pilot, bro. You gonna get, bro. You dying first.
Morning he's serving as first officer on a Comair regional jet.
Oh, the offsets first.
The sun is not up
Grape?
yet.
Yo, chill, bro. What the fuck you talking about? Yo, Zaba, you're a weirdo, bro.
Pohinky has logged over
Yo,
3,500.
if I'm gonna ask another someone's daughter out, and I'm gonna be like, yeah, I'm a pilot. She's gonna be like, yeah, take my daughter, bro.
Hours of flying time on this type
You
of
can get a
aircraft.
license in 1 or 2 years. Oh yeah, what about studying that shit? Yeah, I'm good, bro.
Captain Jeffrey Clay has also spent thousands of hours in this exact type of cockpit.
Cockpit.
It's shortly before 6 a.m. 47
6, 7.
passengers board the flight to Atlanta.
Yo, Capri. How long does it take to be a pilot? 3 months for a private license to 5 an airline career. How? As an inexperienced Manchord cannot pilot. I cannot do everything, bro. That can do everything. For an inexperienced man, become a professional airline typically takes 2 to 3 years. Okay, that makes sense. To go from 0 experience to being hired to a... Yeah, look, that makes sense.
Pilots prepare for departure. Lexington Airport has 2 runways.
I was a pilot in Roblox.
Runway 22 for larger passenger jets and a shorter one for
But
small
I
private
crashed.
aircraft.
Bro, you was a terrorist then, bro.
Wait,
You was not even a pilot. Get the fuck out of here.
26. They intersect. To get to the long
Yeah.
runway 22, pilots need to cross the shorter one. Both pilots are familiar with the airport. Both have taken off from Lexington several times before, including at night. First Officer Pohinky does not brief his captain about the fact that the taxi to runway 22 requires crossing runway 26. As the aircraft taxis, the 2 pilots casually talk about family planning.
My wife wants 4. Insurance for? Yeah, I'd like honey.
Clay stops the plane at the junction of runway
They're
26.
talking about kids and shit.
What happens next is documented in the official investigation report.
Okay.
They fail to notice the runway numbers indicating they're on the wrong strip. They also ignore the fact that their magnetic heading presets are not in line with their current orientation. Captain Clay hands control to Polhinky. The first officer sets thrust.
I like the sounds though. Every time I hear that, she's starting engine.
To lift off, the aircraft needs to accelerate to 142 knots. But when they realize they're approaching the end of the runway, they're only at 131. Polhinky pulls back the control column. He wants to bring the plane into the air, but it's too slow.
Oh my days! Oh my days, bro. So they died, not even in the...
A police officer and a public security officer are the first to reach the crash site. They pull an unconscious man from the wreckage and rush him to the hospital. It's Polhinky. Shortly after, ambulances and fire crews arrive. The firefighters knock down most of the fire within 3 minutes.
Damn, that's good though.
But it's too late. All 49 of the other people on board die at the scene. The crash is what you would call a perfect storm. The official report primarily places responsibility on the pilots for taxiing onto the wrong runway. From engine start to takeoff, pilots are only allowed to talk about the upcoming flight. The records show they ignored that rule.
Holy shit. So they knew what was going to... bro, that's what happens, bro.
At the same time, the airport charts used by
if they just locked in on call, they would have had that.
Air were outdated.
Yep.
And the air traffic controller could have seen that the aircraft was lining up on the wrong runway if he had been looking out the tower cap windows. But he had turned away to handle paperwork. The report also indicates that he was most likely fatigued at the time.
So it just keeps adding up, bro. Like, they keep going with the idea of, yeah, this shit never happens. It will never happen to me. It will never happen to me. That's why I changed my lifestyle in a sense. If I do dangerous shit, I'm not thinking like that, bro. Because I'll be thinking it will happen to me as well,
playing
bro.
with my responsibility. They were mine and Captain Clay's responsibility.
I don't know, bro. She's crazy, bro.
If there's anything that I can say to the family members is that I'm sorry we made that mistake.
Oh, my days, that's him.
Because they lost their loved ones that day. And I just hope that God can give the family members some comfort, some peace.
Yeah, this was supposed to be about Air India, but turns out they've given us 4... Yeah, they fucked up the title somehow, I don't know.
And some compassion so that their burden gets less as time goes on.
The survival stories of James Polhinky, Juliane Köpke, Yumi Ochiai, and Vishwash Kumar Ramesh have very little in common. In crashes with only a handful of survivors, life or death is usually a matter of pure chance. But severe cases like these are absolute exceptions. Flying is actually the safest mode of transportation, and it's getting safer every year. The industry learns from every single accident. Regulations change, aircraft designs evolve, devices and mechanisms improve. The odds that your next flight will end in a forced landing or crash are extremely low.
Facts.
An MIT researcher calculated that you'd have to fly every single day for 55,000 years to die in a plane crash. And even if you were to...
That's for... to even get the 100% chance.
Emergency land or crash, your chances of survival would still be very high. According to the US National Transportation Safety Board, more than 95% of all passengers involved in plane crashes survive. That figure includes emergency landings, crash landings, and pre-crash or post-crash fires.
I mean, if that's the number, okay then, but I don't believe that, bro. What the hell?
Modern passenger aircraft are designed to be fully evacuated within 90 seconds, even if only half of the exits are usable. But it's still very important that you know how to act in a potential emergency. Many real-life evacuations take longer than necessary because passengers freeze or don't know what to do. So next time you're flying, pay attention to the crew security briefing and read the security card instructions, even if you're already familiar with both. Try to memorize the number of rows and directions to the nearest emergency exit. This would increase your chances of finding it if the cabin was filled with smoke. Some experts recommend booking a seat within 5 rows of any emergency exit.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm paranoid. Yeah, W tips. Anyway, I'm too paranoid, bro. I always be doing shit like that, bro. I'm hella paranoid. When it's time, my brain is ripe, bro. So.